Man, let me hit that, man. You gonna pad that?
Man, the scene was so thick. Low riders, 77 Sevilles, L-Dog, nothing but them blacks. All the
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
You know what I'm saying?
Rest in peace, Rico motherfucking Wade.
You look a lot like wood. Follow my every step. Take notes on how I grab. I was about to go in depth. This is the way I keep my shoes in his mic to rep. I kept, to say the least, no, it can't cease. So I begin to piece my 2 and 2 together. Got no snowy weather. Have to find something to do better. Bet I said some time, so shut up that. Nonsense about some solid. I got to walk if it ain't real, ain't right. I'm like, no matter what the season, forever chill with Smith. I said my fifth. I chill with Winston, got my reason. So tell me what did you expect? You thought I'd break my neck to help y'all deck? Oh no, I got other means of celebrating. I'm getting blizzard at Hojo, I got the hoochie waiting. I made it through another year, can't ask for nothing much more. It's outcast for the most, I thought you knew, so now you know, let's go.
What you talking about?
Welcome everybody. I'm your host with the most. And you are now tuned in to the Live from the Spot motherfucking podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody tuning in or not tuning in. You know how we do. You know how we rock and roll. As you can see, we are back with another episode this week. I felt the other one was a little too short, so felt the need to come back here with a late night chill type of vibe. Late night chill type of vibe. With some more shit, because more things have happened. We got to get into a couple of things. The Diddy update. We have rest in peace to Rico Wade. We're going to start there as well. Rest in peace to the legendary Organized Noise CEO and founder, Rico Wade. Rico Wade is a legend to Atlanta, period. That was a... and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly happened to Rico Wade. But he passed away recently. So, let me pull up this article for Mr. Rico Wade real quick. Yes, the architect of Atlanta in hip-hop. So this was from the New York Times. Rico Wade, the architect of Atlanta hip-hop. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. I hate New York Times. New York Times, you gotta stop doing that. People just want to read the news. This is why it's hard to even do that nowadays. My goodness. Alright, so Rico Wade, an architect of... Oh my God. New York Times, why do you want to force people to pay to read the news? My goodness. Everyone else is free. So stupid. Rico Wade, a legendary music producer, has died at 52, leaving the hip-hop community mourning and fans replaying the classic albums he helped create. Artist and activist Killer Mike, a frequent collaborator of the Southern hip-hop icon, announced Wade's death Saturday on Instagram. "I don't have the words to express my deep and profound sense of loss," Killer Mike said in his post. "I am praying for your wife and children. I am praying for the Wade family. I am praying for us all." Which it was a surprise to me as well when I was at work and I heard about Rico Wade's passing. I was just like, how did he pass? Why? And, an official cause of death, of course, has not been announced, but his family confirmed his death in a statement obtained by the New York Times. "We are deeply saddened by the sudden and unexpected passing of our son, father, husband, and brother Rico Wade." The statement said, "Our hearts are heavy as we mourn the loss of a talented individual who touched the lives of so many. We ask that you respect the legacy of our loved one and our privacy at this time." how Rico Wade helped from Organized Noise helped launch Outkast and Future. Wade became a mainstay in hip hop when he, when he, Ray Murray, and Patrick Brown, Sleepy Brown, also known as Sleepy, formed the Atlanta-based production Organized Noise in the early 1990s. According to a documentary about the trio titled The Art of Organized Noise, which I implore everybody to watch one day, The Organized Noise. I think I'm going to watch that just for nostalgic purposes. I was amazed by the amount of detail in that documentary as well, and how many people he, actually influenced and brought out from that dungeon, from Future to Big Boy to Goody Mob to CeeLo, Parental Advisory, Outkast. Once again, the people he's produced for. He did TLC, Waterfalls. People don't know that. Janelle Monáe, Killer Mike, like I said, Bubba Sparks. Like it's just so many people that he's done in over the years, man. Like, rest in peace to the legendary Rico Wade, man. Jermaine Dupri, who founded Social Death Recordings around the same time Wade formed Organized Noise, sent his condolences as well on Instagram, sending my love and condolences to the Wade family and all my brothers in Dungeon. Yeah, so I felt it was important to, as a tribute to Rico Wade, to let us look at someone that he birthed that was actually his family member and his cousin. And not a lot of people knew that Future was his family.
Future, how do you know Rico?
Nah, this is my cousin, you know what I'm saying? And now to hear you say that, that's big, because it just come from being in the dungeon just all them years, just being in the bottom of the basement and just wanting to come out, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I don't really even record in the basement no more, because when I was in the dungeon, it felt like when I was making music and the bottom, it never came out. So I always like to record at the top now. So that's why I always record in Vegas, and I just recorded in places with just one level. I don't like to go down in the bottom because I always
might get lost. And that was and that was something that I promise you, I got a Dungeon Vault now, old Andre 3000 record. And when he came by the studio to do a song with you.
That verse he ain't never put it out.
But that
was the hardest verse in the world.
Something you said. You said it to 3,000 face. He said, my cousin was so, this is him talking about me. I was so excited when 3,000 put that verse down, like he was gonna change my life. Oh my God,
Imagine if that verse would be let out today. An Andre 3000 verse with Future. With them two being as big as they are today, for Rico Wade, rest in peace Rico Wade, I hope that they find that record and put it out in his honor. Just hearing him talk about that kind of gave me chills, because like I said, just thinking about where Future is right now and where Andre 3000 is right now in their superstardom and their careers, it would be an honor to even hear those two together like that.
So we put this song out, shit never came out. Still got it, but that's what he means when he say it can get our generation. We covered the music a little bit, and I feel like now they letting it go. They letting it go, and you can see the fan base build, and that's something that, as far as the art of Organized Noise, as far as us reinventing ourselves, that's a part of it. We even talking to Mass Appeal about doing a record, doing an album of some of the old stuff and letting it go or whatever, because that's what I admire the most. That's what I admire the most, is that confidence to know I'll make another.
So many things that I learned at the dungeon, you know what I mean? Just, but most of it just make me want to be consistent. That's why I'm dropping mixtapes and going back to back, because I know like it can get ugly, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just a moment. It's like smoke and mirrors, and you won't never want it to go away. You don't never want this feeling to go away. But it's just like it do. It's just like getting old. You don't want to get old, but as the years go, you get older. You just like your body don't move, work as good as used to when you was younger. You get tired quicker. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just different. Your interest level is not the same no more. You might don't want to go out no more. You might don't want to do certain things if you done did it for so many years. You know what I'm saying? So just being in the dungeon, I understood that. I understand that, like, when you living in a big house, I'm coming from the hood, and I go straight to Rico house, he got maids, and I never even seen this. I never even went to Buckhead until I went with him. I never even ate at a good restaurant until I went with Rico. He took me to my first 5-star restaurant. Like, to ride in a foreign car, Range Rovers, BMWs, or Porsche. Like, that's my first time ever doing that was around Rico. Or if I'm doing it around somebody who was legit. You know what I'm saying? I never knew nobody that was legal that made money until my cousin Rico. So being in the dungeon, I knew it could happen. Like, I never can touch somebody or have a real conversation to sit down with a man and be like, you know what I'm saying, that was successful, you know what I mean, that didn't go get it from the streets. So someone who had actually achieved their dreams and dreamed and it came to life one day, like, I actually can be in the same car with him, wake up in the same house with him, and knowing all the success that he had over the years, I never still took it for granted. I never was like, I just always was a cousin, you know what I'm saying? I never feel like I was Future then, because I was just soaking up game. I was really just happy to be around him and just knowing that he had that much success and I could be this close to him.
I didn't meet my dad's side. I didn't meet my father till I was probably 12 or 13. So my dad, he came to me and was like, your cousin, this your cousin. But I thought he was just somebody from Kirkwood that they was claiming, somebody who was from the hood that hustled for them. We was at a funeral and he was there. I was like, yeah, you my real cousin? He said, yeah, I told you. I was like, the history. So I needed him to be right beside me because I want to know, who is my Uncle Boo? He said, that's my granddaddy. Who is my Uncle Willie? Who is this? I want to know all about my family. They all got locked up when we were young. Tell me every story. Tell me everything about my family because that's my dad. And the more I know about him, the more I'm going to know about me. And the trade-off was he was a star. In school, he was a basketball star. He was already rapping before I met him. But now he got a chance to see it's real. And since he was my family, it was like, well, I'm gonna give you the game. I'm gonna give you everything I know. And I'm gonna tell you like, yeah, this shit, it might not happen the way we want it to happen. To the point where it hurt me that he really blew up without me producing it. But it ain't like I didn't try. It wasn't like I went near doing it. But I told him, I was like, fuck, my beats just ain't ghetto enough right now.
First time I went to the dungeon when my uncle died, I went over there, but I did a song. It was like one verse and a hook. But I really was shy away from it because there was so many people in the studio, then they acting like, oh, it's just his cousin just trying to get the fame, come around. So I could just see the people's energy. They didn't really want me here, so I just never came back to the dungeon. Then my other uncle died like 3 months later. So I just thought about, like, man, forget what they even thinking about me, how they look at me. I'ma still just come over. I ain't never going back to Kirkwood. So I just stayed over there. I ain't go back for like a year. I just stayed over his house. I never left, no matter what. I just slept on the sofa, just, if they look at me crazy or anything, I just still was just like, man, I'm not leaving. This time I ain't leaving.
They just knew he was a star to the point, I mean, one day somebody just came to me, because at this point you got a bunch of little artists you're working with, and I ain't really working full speed on nothing. I'm already established, I already done did stuff. My money really coming from doing a ludicrous, so it's little stuff. So he might have be there when so humble. So I'm working on something, he might have an idea. I said, we're gonna use that for Luda. He's like, cool. Not, man, you're taking my song. Oh, cool. And guess what? He never talks about it. Never. I told Luda, when Luda was in the studio with him, I said, you know, that's me hit. He didn't even know. Like, in his mind, like, that's your, because that's how you got to be great. You got to be able to be a great leader. You got to be a great father.
Yeah, that's what I used to tell Trey Songz. I was like, man, every time you was in the studio, I was there.
Yeah, Trey Songz.
Like, I just didn't never say nothing to you, like, from all y'all, like, from Trey Songz to Talib Kweli to Snoop Dogg to
Luda
to Ludacris to T.I. to anybody under 3,000. They just knew I was just like a fly on the wall. I just was observing. If they go in the studio, I leave out the studio. I never was the one like right there beside them trying to get no verses. I'm trying to get some money. I ain't even thinking my child right now. Like, y'all hanging with Reek, that's my cousin. I'm not even tripping off y'all. Every superstar in the game that came to the dungeon when I was in the dungeon, and I was there every day. It ain't not one time you came to the dungeon. I wasn't there because that's where I live at.
Yeah.
So I have to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Rico out of town, I'm still at the dungeon. Yep. So I know who coming I know when the car come here, like who it is. So I done been around writers and from different magazines, just being around him, to artists, to different producers, to singers, whoever it is. And they probably don't even know they was right there with me.
I got a vision deeper than any ocean, ain't no fun.
Okay, so a lot of people really didn't know that. And for the longest, I didn't know that Rico Wade and Future were actually cousins. But that would explain the actual the work ethic of Future that he actually has. The guy drops mixtape after mixtape after mixtape, at a pivotal point in his career. Not so much now, of course. If you look at the catalog of Future, he has a very extensive amount of records that are out there in the public. And I thought it was pretty cool just, go down that trip of memory lane. That interview was actually done 8 years ago. So that wasn't something that was done recently. That was done 8 years ago. And, yeah. And it's kind of, and I respect, also, if you notice, I respect the fact that, Drake hasn't really, and the rest of them haven't really incorporated Future in this ongoing beef that he is actually in. He hasn't really been mentioned in things recently. I noticed Drake did pay some type of respect towards Future with not really mentioning him too much in the in that diss record, because I think he had a lot of respect for Rico Wade as well. And knowing that is his family, I think it was very respectful and honorable to just let Future just live right now, because being that it has his family that just passed away, I would think Future is just pretty much just taking his time right now. That's all. Just taking your time right now. That's the best way you could say it, because that's all you can do right now. Just take your time. Grieve and process what's happening. Of course, the transition of your family and loved one. But yeah, man, rest in peace to the legendary Rico Wade. And speaking of the beef, so where it actually supposedly stemmed from is, and Joe Budden has gone viral once again with another theory about Drake, so that Drake apparently is the co-owner of the new music label Gamma with his buddy Larry Jackson. So that's not a far-fetched theory at all if you actually look at the facts. And people think that's the root of where his actual beefs are coming from. Not necessarily the root of all of his beefs, but more so the root of the Ross and French Montana situation. Which I think I should get into the actual root of his actual beefs, like I said later on. Pause. As far as what happened with Drake, so like I said, it's not a far-fetched theory that Drake is not co-owner, but definitely has something to do with the whole Gamma thing. He definitely has some type of insight on Gamma. Whether that be, him having just label input and things of that nature, or him having some type of investment with Gamma. So let's look at a Variety magazine. So former Apple executive Larry Jackson launches Gamma, a new music company with Usher, Rick Ross, and on roster. So let me just show you out real quick instead of doing all that. I just want y'all to see who Larry Jackson even is. So, former Apple executive Larry Jackson launches Gamma, new music company with Usher, Rick Ross, on roster. Okay? So, when Larry Jackson left Apple Music, let's remember this now. When Larry Jackson left Apple Music in September after 7 years as the company's global creative director, he kept quiet about his next move, but as an industry veteran with a deep Rolodex and long-standing relationships with top music stars like Kanye West, Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, and Drake, His next venture was bound to be a very big one. On Wednesday, Jackson announced the launch of Gamma, a multi-platform, multifaceted business that will see him acquiring and joining forces with major artists and brands with endeavors in music, films, merchandise, fashion, Web3, and other areas. The company was co-founded with the former Interscope CFO Ike Yusuf. Backers include Todd Bowley's Eldridge Industries, Apple, and indie film studio A24. The company is said to have $1 billion available in equity and debt, although other sources tell Variety that Apple is a partner, but not an investor, and the money involved is significantly lower. So, the first artists to join the roster include Usher and Rick Ross. And according to Billboard, a stake in the Death Row catalog acquired by Snoop Dogg late last year. Sources tell Variety that Jackson also has his sights set on signing Travis Scott, who has one more album left in his contract with Epic Records. Sources also say that the company made a run at the catalog Dr. Dre recently sold to Universal Music Shamrock Holdings for upward of $200 million. So, one thing to note here, we don't have to read the rest of this, but one thing to mainly note is the fact that Rick Ross now does business over here. Okay? So, if this is someone that is Drake's quote-unquote buddy, and Rick Ross has business with this quote-unquote buddy, wouldn't it be possible that Drake can interfere with the release of people's records now? He can pull a 50 Cent in a sense and say, hey, he shouldn't come out right now. Push him back. Don't put that record out right now. Push him back. Fuck him. So it would now make sense why some of these artists are starting to say, hey, why this guy got so much say in what the fuck my career is got going on, or what you got going on with the business right now, right? And now, to confirm this theory that Drake supposedly has some type of say in things, right? This is what he said back in 2017. Drake says he wants part ownership of Apple Music on Lil Wayne's Family Feud remix. So the OVO Sound co-founder has learned lessons from his mentor's label situation. Lil Wayne recruited his label mate Drake for a new remix of Jay-Z's Family Feud. Let's look at this lyrics here. So on his verse, Drake references the Apple Music deal he signed in 2015 for a reported $19 million. He raps about recruiting the streaming services head of content, get this, Larry Jackson, to help him renegotiate the contract for partial ownership. Genius contributor Samuel breaks it down in an annotation. So here's the lyric from the song. Somebody get Larry Jackson on the phone. I need some ownership if we press and go. Cause business is booming on behalf of me. I need a bite out of the apple like Adam and Eve. So Drake pretty much confirmed that he definitely was helping Apple Music and the artists that had partnerships over there. So anyone that had any type of dealing with Apple Music, as far as their music being promoted and things of that nature, and any other artists that they were working for, Drake was the biggest artist at the time, so he was basically making business move. Which would explain, like I said, with him confirming here, somebody get Larry Jackson on the phone, which would explain why people have so much gripe with him, because he's basically friends with a guy that pretty much runs everyone's contracts now over there at Gamma. So if you pretty much signed or have a partnership with Gamma, a la French Montana, you definitely have are gonna have a gripe with him. Trying to find where I had it with the French Montana. Oh yeah. French Montana inks global partnership with Larry Jackson's billion-dollar-backed Gamma. Gamma has been making a lot of noise since it was unveiled in March. The billion-dollar backed company, launched by Larry Jackson, the U.S.-based A&R impresario, a former global creative director at Apple, counts a high-profile list of financial supporters, including Todd Bowley's Eldridge Industries. We already know that part. Okay, so Gamma's first acquisition was named as Roy LaManna-founded distribution and services company, Vidya. These are key parts right here to remember. Company Vidya, which has previously worked with artists including Akon, Kanye West, Mr. Easy, and Annual AA. So while you guys are thinking about Sony and Universal Music Group and those record Bad Boy Records or MMG, while you guys are thinking about the P24 record labels and the indie shits, these are the big wigs you got to think about. The Vidyas. Okay, Vidya that signs everyone's contract. Vidya that signs Viacom and shit. You know what I mean? You got to think about those big wigs, those names right there that back these companies. Amongst a slate of initial deals struck by Gamma was a partnership with Snoop Dogg, which saw the Death Row Records catalog return to all streaming services worldwide following a week-long exclusive on TikTok. Usher also partnered with Gamma for the release of his latest single, Glue. Now, Grammy-nominated artist French Montana has partnered with Gamma ahead of the release of his new single and video for Good Summer. The press release announcing the news claims that French Montana turned down a $20 million deal to stay independent and partner with Gamma. So, when I hear that, right, I now understand where the actual gripe comes from. Because if I'm thinking about where French Montana's mind is now, he turned down $20 million to basically stay independent because he had in his mind what he thought was going to be his best friend at the time, Drake, throwing him some type of alley-oop over there. Not going to happen. Because then Mr. Drake pulls the rug up under everyone and ends up not doing it. Right? Drake delays release of new song Splash Brothers with French Montana amid Astroworld tragedy. We covered this in the last pod. So the artists have previously collaborated on numerous songs over the years, including tracks among the likes of Pop That and Stay Schemin'. This is 2021 when we did this. So Drake reportedly paused the release of the forthcoming song of French Montana amid the Astroworld Festival tragedy. Now they made it look like that, but I think that's why Ross is basically, and French Montana is pretty much pissed at Drake because they made it look like and dressed it up in the articles as if he was doing it because of the Astroworld Festival, which him pulling a record has nothing to do with the festival tragedy and him being named in the case. That would have nothing to do with it, of course. So on Friday, Montana 37 will release his latest album, They Got Amnesia, which had originally featured the collaboration with Drake 35, titled Splash Brothers. The song has now been dropped from the LP and will likely be released on an upcoming deluxe edition, which of course it never was. It just never got released whatsoever, and the record got yanked. So once again, that is why we have the likes of Ross pretty much stepping in and having his own thing to say about this. and they've pretty much been going back and forth with each other all week as far as trolling each other. Drake's been trolling Metro. Metro's been trolling Drake. Ross has been trolling Drake. Drake's been trolling Ross. You got Ross calling him BBL Drizzy. Who's knows? He's the Ghostwriter references are coming up. So let's look at a couple of things here that's just been going on this week as well. And then Ross's his situation gets brought into the mix as well. His old situation, the correctional officer, gets brought into the mix. This is Drake trolling Metro Boomin.
Metro! Shut your whole ass up and make some fun together. Get back to the drums. Metro! Shut your whole ass up and make some fun together. Get back to them drums. Shut up and make them drums. It's Metro, 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 Metro. Shut your whole ass up and make some drums, nigga. Get back to them drums. Shut up and make them drums. Metro.
I ain't gonna lie, that had a bop to it. That had a little bop to it. But yeah, that was Drake basically trolling Metro Boomin with the a Latin, I guess you could say, salsa edition of the lyric from the diss record he did. Metro, shut your hoe ass up and make some drums, nigga. He basically made a Latin version of it. Metro, shut your ass up and make some drums, nigga. I ain't gonna lie, that had a little bop to it. I was dancing at work and people couldn't understand why. But that was one of many things that Drake has been doing. Then you have him trolling also Kendrick Lamar and his manager. So he posted, the first one he would post would be him saying, "Oh, is today gonna be the day?" Which was pretty damn funny. So I didn't even realize until today that this was the manager. So this was the first pick he did, and as you can see, it says "Wonder if is today the day." So he was basically trolling Kendrick Lamar, saying, "Okay, I hope that he ends up dropping the diss record because it doesn't look too well right now." And he's still saying, "Yo, when's he gonna drop it? When's he gonna drop it?" And then he puts out this one here, the manager again, of we getting in our bag today or nah, of him carrying the OVO bags. So if you haven't noticed, what Drake has been trying to say is your little manager is Chubb's little blunt runner. So as you can see here, this is what he's referring to as he's carrying the OVO bags. This is Kendrick Lamar's manager. I'm just going to take Drake out of it. There he is right there. Anthony Saleh. So, like I said, that's where the famous line came from. Your little manager is Chubb's little blunt runner. So Drake has a lot of things in his arsenal, if that is the case. And I think that's a pretty big spade over there, if you ask me, to have in your hand. He has Kendrick Lamar's manager as, and if you don't know who Chubbs is, let me show you who Chubbs is. This is Chubbs. Chubbs is pretty much everywhere with Drake. And I mean everywhere with Drake. He's pretty much never without him. Like everywhere. So for Drake to have Kendrick Lamar's manager being this guy's pretty much flunky is a whole different spade in itself to have in your deck, I think. Because what type of information now does he actually have on Kendrick Lamar? Kind of crazy to me. That's kind of crazy to me that he would even have him over there like that. And then of course he's managing Nas too. Looks like. Yeah, see, Kendrick Lamar hires Anthony Saleh as new manager. That is interesting. That is an interesting spade in the deck to have right there. You have Kendrick Lamar as a manager. Crazy. That's crazy work right there. But more crazy work would be what, Ross is trying to do. Ross is also trying to troll on a different level here, in my opinion.
Let's do some real nigga shit. Let's go, baby.
So this was Ross at a party, and it kind of didn't look good because Drake was literally trolling him, saying he's performing at proms and local clubs and whatnot. But anyway, so this was Ross pretty much trolling Drake with a hoodie of him. As you can see, the "For All My Dogs" on the back of the hoodie. And on the front of the hoodie, he would have Drake's face on it. This will be one of the first of many trolls that Ross would do, though.
Mommy on me. He shared their text messages between day. Me waking up from a nap, I just realized BBL Drizzy called his mommy on me. He shared their text messages between each other. Cupcake Drake, tell your mama you stayed out past your curfew, white boy. You wanted to hang at the park with the niggas, smoke weed with the niggas while we washed our old school Chevys. White boy, you got a Chevy, white boy? I doubt it. But anyway, big nose. Boy, you had 25% body fat with a carved out 6-piece. Stop. We know what time it is. That shit costs 40 bands. Stop. But tell your mama, well, in Miami, we say old girl. Tell your old girl she a beautiful lady. I told you that before, and I meant that. But you tell your mama, white boy, you stayed out at the park too late. And you can't call her when you get in this shit. This shit too deep to call your mama, white boy. It's a lot of youngsters shining right.
So now he's walking through his mansion with the Hot Boys t-shirt on. Ross is pretty much just on a trolling tirade, calling him B.l.a.c. because
B.l.a.c.
of the surgery.
I got a question. I saw you posted you got more money than Ricky Rose. And let's assume you did. Well, your best friend, Birdman, his house went into foreclosure 5 years ago. You done watch that man struggle them 5 years and ain't get that man a mansion. Because if you got more money than Rose, what's another 50 million? Boy, it's one for 40 on Indian Creek. It's one for 50 on Star Island. You got 48 hours where if you got Ricky Rose money, ain't none of my went in foreclosure. Come on, boy. I'm finna bust a bottle. Boy, don't do stunner like that. Come on, man. What happened to that? 48 hours, the countdown has begun. And that old ass jet you got, they gave it to you free. That's a 1978. Be safe on that, Drizzy. Be safe on that plane. That old God is great. Hey, no, this shit is really funny because I'm gonna tell y'all, it's like battling against nerds. It's like sitting in a class and you watching all the nerds put together their best science project to present to the class. Man, y'all can have that shit. I ain't with that shit. Your nose fake, your stomach fake. You don't write raps. Your biggest homies in foreclosure. Come on, man. Go buy all them that's living with each other a big mansion and put the BBL Drizzy logo on the gates. Man, feed the man. Come on, man. Do that shit, man. And y'all need to pray for Drake and tell him, park that old ass plane. It's a 1978. The cargo jet people gave it to him free for promo. And I ain't hating, but be safe, man. If something was to happen to you and I couldn't tell you this, be safe. And anybody getting on it, be safe, man. Wear your seat belts and make sure the oxygen things in there, because that shit was just for luggage. It wasn't for human beings. Guess what? This is a perfect opportunity for y'all to see the type of boy he is. Soon as that pressure on boy, he gonna go post stunner in that $20 jogging suit. No, the man needs some paper. And make him say, I got your back. He don't want to say that to that Mark. He got that Mark back. That Mark ain't fed him none. But since you done watched him struggle and gave him, show the world you go buy him, post him when you go buy him a $40 million mansion, white boy. Huh? Huh? Soon as Rose on your ass and you call your mama, then I'ma post Birdman and kiss him on TV. Nah, that's what white boys do. Show your real when you go buy them that big mansion, nigga. You know how Stunner and them used to do it. Huh? When Stunner was on top, when you was... Come on, white boy, show the world. We watching now. Ooh, you posting when you need them. Ooh. Hey, I need you to play that. What happened to that crib? What happened to that crib? Come on, Drizzy. Come on, white boy. Come on. Come on, white boy. Soon as you get in that trouble, ooh, I gotta go stand next to the... Ooh, we just watched this on for real time. See, white boy, I'm a different kind of nigga. Rose, I'm rich. I don't need you for a remix, white boy. I don't need you. All them other want to tell you what I'm telling you. I'm saying it for all the who ain't in my position. What happened to that crib? Come on, nah, we ain't getting slimy yet. We're just warming up. Wait, want it? If you want it, beep about it. Put it on Miss Gladys. We all got them. Let the dogs loose, y'all. Want to go there? Let's go there. This Rose, bitch.
So, I think, and this is what Joe was talking about before when he commented on it to academics. Ross is pretty much taking it to a place that I don't think Drake realized Ross is taking it when he's saying things like that. Because here's the thing. Ross pretty much more has a beef with Birdman than he does Drake, if you haven't realized. Ross has always had a big beef with Birdman. Pause. He's always had the beef with Birdman over Wayne. And ironically, as you know, Wayne is the one that put Drake on. So Ross pretty much having the relationship over there has pretty much been a love-hate thing. As he's had the verses from Drake, as well as he's, had the dealings with Wayne, as well as he's had, the problems with Birdman. So he's had, good relations with Wayne and Drake until now, but he's always hated Birdman. And he's always hated Birdman for the simple fact that he hates how he treated Wayne financially in the long run. Feels that he owed him a lot for publishing. He owes a lot to him for making the Hot Boys what they were, Cash Money what it was, period. As well as Young Money. He's owed a lot of money that Birdman still gets to this day for Drake. Whether people know it or not, Drake still makes a lot of money for Birdman. So it was kind of crazy that Ross would go ahead and do this as well, because he didn't just say, hey, just go buy a mansion for such and such on Star Island. He went and actually did it.
It's a lot of youngsters shining right now. Okay. I just mentioned the hey, I don't know nobody else that buy a $35 million crib and tear it down and do it the way they want to do it. Customized. Well, I did. Here we go, right here on Star Island. I have easily 50 million into this, and it's well worth it. My dream crib. But right next door is an empty lot. The lot, they only asking 37 million for the flat lot. And before I show it to you, you know who I love to be my neighbor. So my rich friends, it's available, and I know you got somebody that would love to stay right here next to Ricky Rose, another famous celeb next to me. So let me show it to you. I'm a boss. I'm gonna show you the lot. So right next door to me, this empty lot right here is totally available. They only asking 37 million, which ain't much. Come on. I know you got some people who need it. Come on, man. Rose showing you this. See, from there all the way to the illustrious Miami Beach. It's one and only. This is not these other country and places these other people stay. These other people don't have a waiting list for real estate where they from. Stop. It's a whole different ball game. It's Ricky Rose. Come on, man. You could be my neighbor. I would love to, goddamn it, wake up in the morning and hear, everybody get your roll on. Everybody get your... It's only 37 million. Come on, man. Okay, I'm gonna get ready and walk you through what I'm doing. And it's just all about upgrades. It's really about investing. You understand what real estate is. You know this is the fastest growing market for real estate. I'm talking about in the world. Right here, right across the street. Google him. It's Ken Griffin. So my neighbor, he has 5 lots. He's worth $35 billion. $35 billion. Yeah. We playing for keeps.
Having a lot of construction done to that crib, I can see. Pretty much gutted it out and doing it all over from the ground up. It's always how I want to do my crib, Just start all over with the architect. Have certain things in place, of course. But this is quite a lot right here. For $35 million, it's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. But it didn't stop there with the trolling for Rick Ross, as he would then incorporate a couple other people.
White boy, money than Ricky Rose. I saw you posted you got more money than Ricky Rose. And let's assume you did. Well, your best friend, Birdman, his house went into foreclosure 5 years ago. It's a lot for it to get on this. Like the bigger person. I'm the bigger person. I'm a boss. Drake, I'm going to give you an opportunity to apologize. First and foremost, you got to admit, confess you got your nose reduction, and confess you got a BBL. And I understand. I know what it's like having those flaps on your stomach and that sweat being under there. You ain't want to do that. You wanted to just a gym. You Drizzy, you BBL. You could go get it done, and you did it. Just confess. Confess. I know you're not gonna respond, and this pace is boring me. It's moving too slow. When I came in the game, you had to move fast, drop a freestyle Fridays. Now this shit social media, I can't do it. You got your minions. What's the other white boy name? 1090. He looked like a wet little whale flapping. Shut up. Mind your business, peon. Man, apologize.
Into which he would then try to embarrass 1090 Jake, which, if you guys don't know, 1090 Jake is pretty much had a YouTube channel known for exposing a lot of criminal informants that are pretty much quote unquote real gangsters in the street or in the industry. And he's pretty much exposed a lot of criminal reports and informants over the years. But this one, he tried to expose 1090 Jake, saying that he was a rat, putting up paperwork of him finding a gun and pointing it out to someone. But we will debunk this, or should I say 1090 Jake would then debunk this himself by going over and debunking Rick Ross.
Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Rick Ross, the self-proclaimed kingpin, but actual former corrections officer.
I know, I can already see from here, from where I'm at, this nigga's a total fraud. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even no issue. But I paid for the transcripts to your court case.
Trick Daddy recently accused you of working as a prison guard at one point, Rick. Is there any truth to that?
No, that's not true. But that's disappointing to hear that he said that. He said that?
Like you did 10 years in jail, right? Yeah. How you think about the whole Rick Ross thing, him being a correctional officer and dealing with correctional officers?
Wow. Fake niggas get taped up and sent back. Use a fake nigga, you makes up a good act.
Now I know you. I think it's fair to say, I know you now.
Was Rick Ross in his lifetime a corrections officer?
Rick Ross done did it all to get money. I done did it all except set dudes up, put dudes behind bars, and that's what's important to me.
Pictures turned up of you online,
right?
Or a person that looks like you online, who's working as a correctional officer. Is that or is that not Rick Ross in those pictures?
That was me in the photos. I'm the truth when your truths just pretend. I hear lies in every one of your lines with no flow or mind. Magnified times 5. You lost, I'm Ross.
Now bullets are flying in hip-hop as back-to-back disses are being dropped and shots keep getting fired. At this point, it seems like Drake versus everybody, but one person in particular is standing out. Rick Ross would drop an immediate response to Drake's diss, but that isn't what's got my attention. Ross would keep dissing through Instagram and referring to Drake as a white boy as if that's an insult. Well, now you got a white boy's attention. Apparently everybody forgot the biggest boss of Miami, the hustler who knew Pablo and Noriega, the man who thinks he's Big Meech, Larry Hoover. Everybody forgot he was a fucking CO. Lead the way! Now this isn't new news. Back in 2008, pictures would be released of Ross in uniform, and he'd speak exclusively with all hip-hop stating, "My life is 100% real. These online hackers putting a picture of my face when I was a teenager in high school on other people's body. If this shit was real, don't you think they would have more specifics, like dates and everything?" So a then 32-year-old Ross claimed the pic was photoshopped, his kingpin lifestyle was real, and there was no proof behind the CO allegations. Well, a media website by the name of The Smoking Gun would send in a public records request receiving 86 pages from the Florida Department of Corrections about Officer Ricky's short career. A photo of William Roberts, aka Rick Ross's state of Florida application, would state he received his diploma from Miami Carroll City High and went on to Albany State University to study criminal justice. On his supplementary application, he'd state his nickname was Big East and denied knowing anyone in prison along with never working in prison or in law enforcement. Now, with every new recruit, the Department of Corrections wants to know how willing you are to complete your correctional duties. Ross would check off he's willing to work rotating shifts, carry a firearm, and work with violent inmates, homosexuals, etc. He'd also state he's willing to shoot an inmate who's attempting to escape, body search a male or female inmate, and write an incident report. In 1995, Ross would take an oath of loyalty to support the Constitution and would receive a letter stating he's now officially a correctional officer trainee at the South Florida Reception Center. 5 months later, it was now 1996, and Ross would receive an award for completing 540 hours of basic training. Ross was now an official corrections officer and can be seen taking a picture at his graduation ceremony. 4 months later, he'd receive a certificate of appreciation for perfect attendance from the same woman he can be seen shaking hands with at his ceremony. But eventually, all good things must come to an end. And in June of 1997, Ricky Rose sent in a resignation letter and officially left the force. But like I said, this isn't new news. This came out back in 2008, and 50 Cent started calling Ross Officer Ricky in 2009. That same year, Rick Ross would admit to b.l.a.c it was in fact him in the pictures. He'd state, "Me not answering or addressing that situation has nothing to do with my career. I've accomplished enough and I've made enough money for me to be good. Yes, it was me in those pictures, but I'ma tell you this. Me taking that job, I was doing my job. You understand what I mean?" He'd continue on saying the stuff he talks about is real, the dope is real, and the gun talk is official. But fans would forever speculate, when exactly was Rick Ross in the streets serving bricks? In an interview with the Full Send podcast, the alleged kingpin was asked about his time as a corrections officer in Florida State Prison.
Were you a correctional officer at one point?
I was, yeah.
So going all the way back, when was that? How long ago?
Maybe when I was 20.
20 years old?
Yeah.
What kind of people were in there?
You know, I didn't really get to make it to the prison. Because you got to go through training and all that, and I didn't last long.
Right.
I may have lasted 4 months.
Right.
Before they said,
yeah,
I was a little tardy.
Now, Ross claimed he only worked the job for 4 months and never made it to a real prison because he didn't even complete training from being tardy so much. But this is the same Ross that received a certificate of appreciation for never missing a day. He'd work as a CO for 18 months at the South Florida Reception Center in Miami. This was the first stop for any inmate entering the prison system from Miami, Broward, Palm Beach, or any other neighboring counties. This was very much prison, and the South Florida Reception Center has repeatedly made the news, like when 4 COs were arrested for beating an elderly inmate to death, or when 11 inmates died from COVID. But still, Rick Ross got a pass because even if he never sold drugs a day in his life, the music sounded good enough to forget it. So why still lie about your old job? And if you weren't flipping bricks in between criminal justice class and football practice, when did it happen? Apparently in 2008, the same year the pictures were released, Rick Ross was arrested on gun and marijuana charges. The investigation would be assigned to the Gang Unit Task Force, and transcripts would state the Gang Unit was given the case because Rick Ross claims affiliation with the Carol City Cartel. Now, Triple C's, according to Wikipedia, was a hip-hop group founded by Rick Ross in 2005. Named after the Carol City neighborhood of Miami, the group featured Rick Ross, Gunplay, Torch, and Young Breed. The transcripts would mention YouTube, and Ross didn't shy away from his cartel affiliation because it wasn't an actual cartel. The transcripts would also reveal this was actually Ross's first arrest as an adult at 32 years old. So technically speaking, you're not a criminal until you get caught, right? And Ross was never caught until after his career already blew up. Aside from marijuana, Ross wouldn't be arrested for anything serious until 2017, when him and his former security guard kidnapped a landscaper by forcing him into a room and pistol whipping him. Ross would plea out to lesser charges as a first-time offender, and the charges would be removed from his criminal history after paying all fines and completing probation. So maybe Ross was just too smart to get caught with any bricks. Going back to his interview, Ross would state he got his job in corrections after his big homie got in trouble and suggested it.
What made you want to do that?
One of my big homies had just got in trouble, and a lot of things were going on, and he just suggested it.
You fuck with it or no?
I didn't. Anything you gotta really do, and you fucking running and jogging and all of that shit, man.
The big homie Ross was referring to is none other than Kenneth Booby Williams. Booby was the leader of the Booby Boys, an infamous murderous drug gang that terrorized Miami in the 90s. Law enforcement officials would state they built a drug empire that smuggled 5 tons and $85 million worth of cocaine across 25 Florida cities and 12 states from 1990 to 1998. The gang was blamed for 35 murders, and when they were all indicted, the shootings and murder rate literally dropped in 4 of Miami's worst neighborhoods. According to a Street Stories article, the Booby Boys reached national attention through Rick Ross, who rose to fame in hip-hop's cocaine era, when everybody was rapping about cocaine and selling it. He'd introduced the world to Miami's underworld by wearing a Booby Boys t-shirt, naming members in his songs, and speaking of them in multiple interviews.
When I talk about yayo, when I talk about streets, body counts, that's where I really come from, you know what I'm saying? I came up in Carol City, the heart of Miami, and just so happened in my generation, we had a good friend of ours by the name of Kenneth Booby Williams, who was featured on America's Most Wanted in 1999. You understand? And he was accused for over 200 homicides and running an $80 million enterprise.
An anonymous person would speak with the Miami New Times back in 2008 over the correction officer controversy. He'd state, "Ross ain't no fake cat. He's always been savvy in my experiences crossing paths with him way back in the day." Ross ran with the Booby Boys, who were among the top 5 gangsters down here in Miami in the mid-90s. When Booby Boys leader Kenneth Booby Williams got snatched by the feds, they also snatched several Miami-Dade police officers as well because they were on Booby's payroll. Now Ross wasn't no kingpin himself, but close enough, because he ran with some real hustlers that touched major work. Streetwise, Rick Ross's back is against the wall. He can't really elaborate on everything because Booby is still dealing with the federal case right now on appeal. The streets know that when Ross was a CO, he was working for Booby on a mission. Now this story would coincide with what Ross said on his Full Send interview, but we don't even know who said it because the person was anonymous and could have been Rick Ross himself or a member of his team. Reading between the lines, this dude was alleging Ross got a job as a CO to work for Booby in prison, and Booby was a notorious drug gang leader. But the timelines don't even add up. Ross started working in prison in 95 and resigned in 97, the same year some of the Booby Boys got locked up. Then the feds indicted 15 of them in 1999. Ross's so-called big homie never even made it to Florida State Prison and would end up in the feds, meaning Ross never came across him while working in state prison. Another anonymous person claiming to be the baby mother of one of the Booby Boys stated Ross was never a Booby Boy, and never a dope boy either. Everyone connected to Kenneth Booby Williams was arrested, and Ross only went to high school with some of the members. She would claim Booby was an inmate at the South Florida Reception Center before going to prison when he recognized Rick Ross and thought he'd be beneficial. But even her story doesn't make sense, as Booby doesn't show up in the Florida Department of Corrections offender search. So yet again, another story that can't be proven by another anonymous source. Whether or not Ross promoted the Booby Boys to give himself a more street appearance, Ross would skyrocket into stardom and rise to legendary status in the state of Florida. Because of that, nobody really gives a fuck if Ross's whole persona was fake because he still made it. But apparently Ross does because he responded to me on Instagram. Now, I made a post about him lying over how much time he actually did working in prison, and he'd respond in a series of Instagram posts stating I'm a rat. He'd show my mugshot in one post and in another a statement. The statement would read, the suspect, Cherry, made several spontaneous statements. He stated that the gun was in his friend Alex's room inside the closet under the green shirt. He stated that he was shooting the gun in the middle of the street and that he is sorry. He stated he found it in a vacant house that he was using to piss in. He saw a shiny object and reached down and found the gun. Now, Rick Ross would at me, putting multiple rat emojis while...
I can't just let that slide. He was basically using the pistol to take a piss in. That's pretty fucking disgusting. Imagine you just picking up a gun and someone was just taking a piss in the barrel. That's fucking nasty.
Adding Drake saying, "White boy, who next?" He'd then make another post writing the same thing. Now, since Ross added me, I now had the ability to DM him, so I sent him a voice message back.
Oh yeah, you played, Officer Ricky, you played. I saved my homie people from getting jammed up before they went inside the house and found that gun and took them off Section 8. I blew that pistol, that was my case. You played though. I ain't wake up and put a badge on, you did.
Now, whoever decided to send that to Ross didn't send him the other 25 pages detailing what actually took place and how I admitted I fired the gun and the gun was mine to keep anyone else from being charged. Ross would make another post to Instagram, once again mentioning me.
You got your minions. What's the other white boy name? 1090. He looked like a fucking wet little whale flapping. Shut up. Get mind your business, peon. Man, apologize.
Truth is, me and Drake have no ties and have never spoke, but he'd follow me on the gram shortly after Ross's little tirade. I myself was surprised Ross was so quick to respond to his CO past, as he's changed the story so many times and added new twists, alleging he was pushing Wade in prison. But apparently it still strikes a nerve almost a decade later to see himself in that uniform.
I bet you it does. Especially when you're quote-unquote the gangster rapper everyone thought you were. I remember when 50 Cent first put that whole allegation out that he was supposedly a correctional officer, and then it showed up that he actually was a correctional officer, and then you had the pictures backing it up, and then things of that nature, the academy, of course, you know, and then, yeah, it is pretty ironic that he's actually, it's giving him a gripe later on. Everyone already knows that you are, so why would you even take offense to that type of thing? But, you know, my whole thing was him saying and him trying to prove that 1090 Jake was a snitch, and he wasn't, on top of the fact that saying that he was moving bricks through the jail. Like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. So on top of you being in denial, then you add on another white lie to it. It's not going to work like that way. Okay? But, like I said, it appears that everybody, like I said before, everybody has drawn their line in the sand. Everybody has drawn their line in the sand. And the main person we are waiting on right now is Kendrick Lamar. I know Ross keeps saying we're waiting for Drake to respond to Ross, but we are waiting more so for Kendrick to respond, period. That's what we are waiting. So, moving right along. Speaking of cops, there's a very dirty cop. Very dirty cop. Dirty cop. A Diddy dirty cop. Okay? If you will. A Diddy dirty cop. Can you guess who that Diddy dirty cop is? That's right. Carl Winslow, come down to the congregation, sir. Come on down to the congregation, sir. Come on down to this congregation here, sir. Alrighty. So, and it says, podcaster claims he caught Diddy having relations with Carl Winslow from Family Matters. So, just when you thought the drama surrounding Sean Diddy Combs was dying down, a bombshell is going around social media surrounding Diddy's relationship with Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Family Matters cast gallery here. Oh, this is just a picture. Okay, Media Takeout learned that according to a clip from a popular podcast, a man is claiming to have seen Diddy having relations with actor Reginald Bell Johnson. Now, I remember him before. He was the guy Spider Look was always running around saying that he was lying, this, that, and the third. He didn't really know what he was talking about. He had switched up on what do you call it? On Whack 100 before, and he had switched up on his main man before, Big U. That's who it was. He had switched up. He was Big U's little homie. So he switched up on Big U or whatever. And make a long story short, this guy's track record of saying the truth hasn't been too good.
Like I see, like when Diddy fucked Carl Winslow, we was at the party, and we just chilling and shit like that, and me.
How he just casually says that shit.
We just chilling and shit like that. And me,
He messed up my childhood when he told me that.
Everybody know me, right?
Right.
I'm a goofy nigga. I'm funny and stuff like that. So I hear a nigga just wearing out some shit. I'm like, huh? Like hearing that, I'm like, on 6-0, who's wearing this bitch out?
Right.
Let's see if we can get this a little bit. Oh no, we can't. Yeah, this is probably the biggest we'll get.
Well, we was at the party, and we just chilling and shit like that. And me,
He messed up my childhood when he told me that.
Everybody know me, right?
Right.
I'm a goofy nigga. I'm funny and stuff like that. So I hear a nigga just wearing out some shit. I'm like, huh? Like hearing that, I'm like, on 6-0, who's wearing this bitch out?
Right.
Nigga, I kick in the door. Poof. Kick in the door. Nigga, I seen Carl Winslow put his
that's
head
the
up
father.
on
Ain't that the
6-0,
father
like-
from Family Matters?
Yeah.
No way.
The dad. The dad.
Oh, the dad.
The dad.
The
Yeah.
dad.
I swear to God, dad homie, neighborhood crib. So when I seen that,
Man.
and then
So who was piping Carl? Diddy?
yeah, Diddy was. So when I seen that, cuz right, Diddy came back and he was telling me, he was like, it's nothing more enjoyable than having a man do something for some money. I'm like, cuz that shit crazy.
Oh
than a
nah, that's
motherfucker.
wild, bro.
Like I see, like when Diddy fucked Carl Winslow, we was at the party, and we just chilling and shit.
Unbelievable. I'm just trying to just say to myself, like, I'm thinking of the party, like, how do you walk in on something like that? How do you walk in something like that on something real casual and nobody says nothing and Diddy just walks out like, for things people do for some money, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. But like I said, the guy has such a track record of not really telling the truth. So I don't necessarily know if that is going to be, if that's going to quote unquote be confirmed or not. But it wouldn't be far-fetched, considering everything we know. It wouldn't be far-fetched. It would not be far-fetched at all.
Like that. And me,
He messed up my childhood when he told me that.
Everybody know me, right?
Right.
I'm a goofy nigga. I'm funny and stuff like that. So I hear a nigga just wearing out some shit. I'm like, huh? Like hearing that, I'm like, on 6-0, who's wearing this bitch out?
Right.
Nigga, I kick in the door. Poof. Kick in the.
So new court filings have come up. Is this the ones I was looking at? Yeah. New court filings. This was from April 9th from Little Rod. So, this is I think a declaration. I think this was an updated one. So I, Rodney Jones, declaration. I declare, according to 28 USC, I have personal knowledge of the facts set forth herein, which I know to be true and correct, and if called upon to testify as a witness, I could and would competently testify thereto. Around August 2022, I received a call from Sean Combs and his assistant employee Frankie Stella requesting that I produce several songs on a rhythm and blues titled The Love Album. Before this conversation, I was invited to Mr. Combs' house in 2021 to produce on another project. From September 2022 to 2023, I produced 9 songs on Mr. Combs' Love album. I also played several instruments on a few other songs as well. For 2 weeks in October of 2022, I worked at Combs Enterprise and Combs Global offices in West Hollywood, training engineers. All right, we're going to read this here. Oop. Wait 1 second. I think I should move it up just so y'all could see it a little bit. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's move this up a little bit just so you guys can see. And that's good enough for the people at home, right? Yeah, that's good enough for the people at home. So, I gotta be long-winded for this. All right. It says, I lived with Mr. Combs for months at a time, spending holidays and birthdays with him and missing major family events. He was very demanding and would often deny my request to go home. I lived at Mr. Combs' residence in L.A., California, New York City, Miami, and Florida. I think we read this part. I think we read this, but we didn't look at the actual pictures of things. Yeah, we read the declaration. Part of it, but okay. So this is actually the flights, basically, that he was on, that he's saying that Sean Combs was doing the sex trafficking on. So this is basically the updated version of it. So I witnessed the acquisition, used in distribution of ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms. I witnessed Mr. Combs display and distribute unregistered illegal firearms. I witnessed Mr. Combs provide laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers at his homes in California, New York, the Virgin Islands, and Florida. I witnessed Mr. Combs' Chief of Staff, Christina Coram, aka KK. That's crazy. That puts a whole new twist on Wiz Khalifa's weed, KK. That's something else. Instruct the staff to retrieve drugs so she could provide them to Mr. Combs for his consumption. I witnessed Christian Combs drug and sexually assault a stewardess while we were on the yacht. Mr. Combs rented. So remember that sexual assault that Christian Combs is in? He pretty much just said he witnessed Christian Combs sexually assault the stewardess. Yeah, that don't look too good for Mr. Christian. That don't look too good for Mr. Christian. I witnessed Christian Combs drug and sexually assault a stewardess while we were on the yacht Mr. Combs rented in St. Martin and the Virgin Islands. The assault began in the makeshift studio on the yacht while I was recording Christian Combs auto-tunes rapping. Wow. They keep mentioning that auto-tune rapping to play him, I see. They just keep mentioning that. On many mornings while on the yacht, Mr. Combs, I worked out alongside him in the gym, which we saw videos of that as well. him jogging on the bike and Diddy on the treadmill or whatever. I have videos of Mr. Combs and me working out on the treadmill with TD Jakes playing on the monitor. We watch TD Jakes' sermons each morning during our workouts. At first, I thought it was admirable that Mr. Combs listened to sermons while working out until I realized he was not studying the message. He was studying the messenger's mannerisms. During our gym sessions, he detailed how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's pending lawsuit. And then, of course, him saying he witnessed the Chalice Recording Studios shooting of G. This is pretty much in detail of everything that he saw, which he pretty much explained in the first original filing here. This is him posted with a drink and one of the sex workers at a party, excess drug use. In addition to Club Love, Mr. Combs required everyone working on the Love album to take laced shots of De Leon tequila. There was no way to tell him no. Mr. Combs felt anyone who refused to drink with him was suspicious and untrustworthy. At the time, I did not realize that he used the laced shots of alcohol to obtain and maintain control over the person consuming the alcohol. Mr. Combs was not the only person who pressured everyone to take shots. His chief of staff, Christina Coram, and her direct reports, DeForest Taylor, Frankie Stella, and the A&R for Love Records, Brendan Paul, and Moy Bien did so as well. Then we have the drug and sex trafficking here. Throughout the duration of my time living with Mr. Combs, I personally witnessed Mr. Combs order his staff to bring him drugs and sex workers. This was a common occurrence, and he was never told no. Wow. And this, of course, all the dates that he had. He was forced to solicit different sex workers and hiring and bringing them. Look at this. All these different dates here. But real quick, I think it's important while we're on the subject, because I remember Jaguar Wright actually Jaguar Wright was recently on the interview describing how the actual drug that Puffy has been moving around with in those pouches is actually even made. And not only that, she was also breaking down how it actually makes you feel, which was pretty interesting as well. She was saying how much it numbs you, and on top of you being numb, you're also sexually active and things of that nature. Just listen to what Jaguar Wright has to say about, that Tucci drug that she was talking about.
See the guns.
The cops did grub and cook it up, and they fold it into the cup. Because people was calling it 2 city.
There were so many cameras in his houses.
No!
That he was recording these.
Of course, he is the J. Edgar Hoover of hip-hop.
Okay.
Y'all done seen him put on the pyramid with a skirt?
So let me ask you, when you hear that Cassie was told to hire male escorts to come and what they call freak-offs now.
Yeah.
Is that something normal that happens in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Freak-offs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody know that. I've been saying it.
Yeah.
How many times I got some is wild.
So do you feel like people, when they hear pink cocaine, Young Miami has to bring across?
Wait, the Tusi.
Yeah, the Tusi. That's what they call it.
I found out. I talked to my drug guy. Because I wanted to be informed. Because people was calling it Tusi, that's calling it the Tunchi. I didn't know which one it was. So I talked to my drug guy, and my drug guy filled me in. And then it made perfect sense. Tusi.
Talk to him.
Drugs with Jaguar.
Let's talk.
Drugs education.
101.
So Tusi is the cocaine, but they take the ketamine and cook it up. And they fold it into the coke. Now, if you don't know what ketamine is what they call on the street Special K. It's a veterinary drug. It's a horse tranquilizer. Now, gay men have been using this for years. See, back in the day, if you went to a gay party or a gay rave, there were certain drugs that you would always find on hand. Viagra, ecstasy, Special K, and cocaine. Now, see, the cocaine keep you up all night, but unfortunately, it gives you limp noodle because of what the blood flow is. So you want to fuck with a half-hard dick all night. So that's why you have the Viagra, to make sure that the dick involuntarily stays hard while you're numbing your fucking self with the coke. Now, see, the ketamine, that's a horse tranquilizer. So that relaxes all your muscles. You could get fucked by 80 fucking ton gorillas. You wouldn't feel a thing. So now, your dick is gonna stay hard. You numbed up and you high. You got the ketamine in you so you don't feel shit. And then you add the ecstasy to put in the feeling that you've now blocked out. And now you got a party.
Freak off cocktail.
Yeah. So now, the Tusi, they done skipped. They done skipped all the steps. They condensed it. Wow. So you got the cocaine in there, and then you got the ketamine in there, and they say that some of the dealers add the ecstasy in there. Now the Viagra, you still got to take that solo. But with the Tusi, you got all of that. The gay cocktail. Off cocktail in the one thing. And the reason why it's pink is because they put the food coloring in it. They think, he said he think they got it from the Breaking Bad. You remember how they was making the meth, and they made it a special color, so they done that with the Tusi.
Wow.
It's the food coloring.
You think that...
As if you need more. When did high not get high enough? Like, I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, to the point where you have to fly it across, like, I need that here tonight. Can you get that here? Like, no...
I need that here. You got 3 drugs. Powerful drugs.
Which would explain why Puff has to keep it around in those pouches so much. Because he's pretty much addicted to the point where everybody around him has to keep it on him. Remember, Lil Rod and Cassie both said that they pretty much had to carry it around with them at all times because he needed to have that at all times with him.
Coloring.
Shit. Okay.
You are numb. You are wired. You pop that Viagra. You a f***ing machine. You can anything. You can a brick wall, wouldn't even feel it.
I'm sure there's footage of that.
Like real rap. Like that right there is like, that's like, cut me over right now, man. I ain't even gonna bleed. Like, it's wild. Like, this Tusi shit. Now I see how Young Miami can take all that pressure. She on the Tusi. They be thinking these is over here, like, killing the game. They don't feel nothing. That's why they do it. Okay?
Young Miami put out a tweet a while back and basically was into it with, I guess, one of Diddy's other women. Mm-hmm. And she basically said, if I wanted you to eat my cat, Diddy would have had you on your knees by now. Do you think that was really like her telling on herself before she knew things were gonna hit the fan?
No,
like
I think that was her being herself because she's a dumb.
Damn.
I think she was just telling the truth because it's almost as rough as Nicki Minaj with females out here. I hear she lace front all the time. Snatching up and throwing them in her nasty ass twat. Like when I think of the title of her show, I'm like, is that what your victims be saying? Carisha, please?
Oh, man. Damn. Okay.
Please, Carisha, stop, Carisha, please.
So you're saying that Carisha is...
She's a predator no different than Nicki Minaj.
Hey.
She likes that shit. That shit turns her on. Wild bitch. And her in the sexy red and the Sukianas and all this shit.
So before we get, before Jaguar goes Jaguar, basically, let's also look at the fact that they issued a summons. They also issued a summons here. Now, this summons was actually filed today. It says a lawsuit has been filed against you. Within 21 days after service of this summons on you, not counting the day you received it, or 60 days if you are the U.S. or U.S. agency or an officer or employee of the United States described in Fed or Civ P12A 2 or 3, you must serve on the plaintiff and answer to the attached complaint or a motion under Rule 12 of Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. The answer or motion must be served on the plaintiff or plaintiff's attorney, whose name is Tyrone Blackburn. If you fail to respond, judgment by default will be entered against you for the relief demanded in the complaint. You must file your answer or motion with the court. Looks like we going to court, love. Looks like we going to court, love. Mr. Diddy has been served with a summons. Mr. Diddy has been served with the summons. And this, like I said, this was just filed today. So I could only imagine how many, how much is basically, how much he's pulling his hair out right now. This just got it filed today. Because that just means that, you know, Reggie Wright also went on record saying that he thinks an indictment is coming, as well as Suge thinks an indictment is coming. Sloan Bella also thinks an indictment is coming, or something is coming to him. This could be that. This could very well be that. Unfortunately, though, one person that is definitely going to jail, unfortunately, once again, NBA YoungBoy was arrested earlier in Utah on drug and weapons charges.
Don't fight the insurance companies alone. Put luck on your side.
I got lucky and I got the settlement I deserve.
Let me see.
Call 8669-LUCKY.
Real quick. So, Cache County, Utah, Baton Rouge native, and rap star NBA YoungBoy has been arrested in Utah, where he has been serving strict house arrest during legal proceedings stemming from a pair of arrests during a music video shoot in 2020. According to jail records from the Cache County Sheriff's Office, and the 24-year-old, whose real name is Kentrell Golden, was booked on several charges Tuesday evening, April 16th, around 6:30. Jail records show YoungBoy was taken into custody in the following charges: pattern of unlawful activity, procuring or attempting to procure drug prescription, identity fraud, forgery, possession of other controlled substances, possession of a dangerous weapon or restricted person, or by a restricted person. So pretty much he had a gun on him, and the prescriptions drugs as well. Then he had the fake ID on him and the forgery. This isn't good. That's not good. Because all those are pretty much, if he's even so much convicted of any of that stuff, he's, pretty much going because violation of his parole. Unfortunately, YoungBoy is awaiting trial for federal gun charges, which was paused in March pending the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling on Second Amendment rights in the spring. The rapper was indicted in March 2021 after allegedly being found with 2 guns during a September 2020 incident in Baton Rouge. 16 people were arrested on drug and firearm charges while filming a music video in an abandoned lot. July 2022, a federal jury in L.A. found NBA YoungBoy not guilty of knowingly possessing a firearm during an arrest following a brief foot chase in California. So he has been serving house arrest in Utah under the surveillance of a security firm staffed by military veterans. So he's been under high security maintenance as far as, his parole has been going. It's not like he's just been out there, willy-nilly. You see him on horses and whatnot. He's definitely under high volume security, as being that he's NBA YoungBoy. Last December, a federal judge lessened the conditions of his house arrest to allow YoungBoy access to mental health treatments, but denied him more time in the recording studio, despite arguments that his record sales have suffered due to his lockdown. And an attorney representing YoungBoy issued a statement saying, in part, everyone is presumed innocent and he has been falsely accused in the past. No bail has been set yet. So that is the news on NBA YoungBoy, which I do hope, with the past that kid has, I do hope that they are very lenient on him and they don't just throw the book at the kid. Because that's looking like that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, that they might just throw the book at the kid with everything that he's pending being charged. So earlier, also got reports that b.l.a.c was in a flood. I don't know if anybody heard about that. The flooding in b.l.a.c.
Okay, so we talked about this last week, and now we're going to do a deep dive with Davo. Dubai is making it rain in a sweltering desert by zapping clouds with electricity using drones.
Fascinating, isn't it?
So much to ask, but let's take it, and then we'll do a few questions.
Before we talk about what's happening in Dubai, let's talk about cloud seeding in general, because a lot of people, I don't think, understand what cloud seeding is. And this has been going on for decades, by the way. This is not something that's brand new. But traditionally, what cloud seeding is, it involves using aircraft or drones or even some cannons to push silver iodide up high into the clouds. Why silver iodide? Because that has the same crystallized structure as ice. So once it gets up into the clouds, it starts to accumulate ice on it and these large raindrops, which helps, especially in a cloud mass that's not really going to rain. It helps to bring rain and especially snow down.
So it works.
It does work. marginally. But the problem with silver iodide through the years has been this, is that they feel it could be harmful to aquatic life. Okay. So over in Dubai, which is what you're seeing here, they took it a different step. And what they basically did, they had a fleet of drones that flew up into cloud cover, and they used electrical charges to force water droplets to combine into larger ones.
So not silver, not cloud seeding as we know.
No, they're not using the traditional silver iodide, which takes out the environmental aspect of that, okay? So they're using just electricity to create larger raindrops. Why larger raindrops? Because in Dubai, they only average about 4 inches of rain per year, as most of the rain that falls out of the clouds evaporates because it's so hot, it's so dry, and the water molecules are so tiny. So they're trying to stimulate by using electricity these droplets to be larger, hence they can make it to the ground. Now, I will tell you that the jury is still kind of out a bit on whether or not this was a fluke, whether this is something that can work long term. So they need to continue with these drones, and they're going to continue to do this. Yes, Mr. Rhodes?
So, assuming it works and it wasn't a fluke, why not use this out in the western U.S. where all these wildfires are and the drought is going on? Could this not help us
That's
here?
a fantastic question, and they've been trying. This is stuff that, first of all, it's very expensive too. You're talking about millions and millions of dollars, which is fine when you're trying to alleviate a drought. Sure. It cannot work with wildfires. Here's the thing. You can't just throw silver iodide or electricity into a clear sky and it rains. It doesn't work that way. You have to have the right cloud structure, the right cloud height. They have to be tall, getting up well into the freezing layers. Then you can try to stimulate that process. And they've done that out west. During the winter time, when they get days and days of cloud cover, they've done that, and they've noticed they've been able to increase the snowfall pack 5 to 15%. But the area and the weather, Russell, around wildfires is not conducive to that type of cloud cover, so you can't do it. In other words, we need to treat the drought, which will then alleviate the wildfires. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's the way it has to go. 5 to 15% increase in precipitation out west due to this. It's a start.
Okay.
And it's a good start, especially over in Dubai for those folks who are just trying to generate more rainfall. Now, on the opposite side about, we're done. We don't need more time.
Another time. We'll pick it up another time.
So that actually caused the flooding that actually happened in Dubai.
Several inches of rain falling over the United Arab Emirates, prompting flight cancellations at the second busiest airport in the world, school shutdowns, and traffic at a standstill. Some amazing flooding conditions there. Bonnie Quinn has had a front row seat to it. We go out to her in Dubai for an update on what's happening. Bonnie.
Will remain, as you can see right behind me, this is part of the b.l.a.c complex within Dubai, which is its own self-regulated complex of financial institutions. We're talking about more than 50 hedge funds, more than 200 banks based here, more than 100 insurance companies and 350 wealth managers. All told, more than 41,000 people work here on a daily basis. That was impacted, as you can see today. Dubai is not a walking city. It is very much a city that runs on taxis, Ubers, and driving. Public transportation fairly limited in Dubai. Within a few hours of this rain starting, you can see what happened. Cars were abandoned everywhere. I'm looking down from the 34th floor of a hotel room. Cars are abandoned outside right now. The cars that are managing to make it through are being guided through by emergency vehicles, and it really is a sight to see. Dubai every now and then gets these large rainfalls. However, infrastructurally, it's not quite able to manage them. It doesn't have the drainage, although it needs the rainfall for extra water security.
Okay, so like I said, and which was intriguing enough is the fact that we do have something that NASA has been working on over the past decade. In fact, this video that I'm showing here is from 8 years ago. Pretty much figure out how to form clouds and make it rain all over the nation.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest. Now,
the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
You heard that. NASA is playing God, making its own weather. You know, I told people years ago that the sky was an LED screen. And people didn't believe me and thought I was crazy when I said that. The sky is an LED screen. The clouds aren't real. All this shit. Snow ain't real. Rain ain't real. And look, you see right here, NASA making its own damn cloud. And an hour later, the son of a bitch rained. If that don't tell you that the government has been playing playing with your eyes in plain sight, I don't know what the fuck else do. Look at this shit. We'll watch it again. They are making their own.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest.
Now, the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
NASA's playing God, making its own weather. Ladies and gentlemen, we have talked about Project Bluebeam on here. We talked about NASA making its own clouds. We talked about the face and the moon. We talked about Diddy and sex trafficking. Damn it, we've journeyed to Bohemian Grove. If this all don't tell y'all to wake the fuck up, get yourself informed. I don't know what else to tell you. I do not know what else to tell y'all. But it's time to get yourselves informed on what is going on in the world out here.
Yeah.
Before it's too late.
Yeah.
I'm back though.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Peace! My type of women like to cuddle, but don't sleep on the money. My type of women like to talk, but don't talk to no dummy. A good play, peace and pay, that's a damn good day. A good play, peace and pay, that's a damn good day. The type of dudes don't be calling trying to blow up a phone. The type of dudes getting money but don't leave her alone. She just need food, peace and pay, that's a damn good day. She just need food, peace and pay, that's a damn good day. Don't be mad at it, that's just what I prefer. Don't be mad at it, that's just what I prefer. Don't be mad at it, that's just what we prefer. Don't be mad at it, that's just what we prefer. I need a woman that can cook and clean. She need a good man that fucking mean. I kick it paying all bills, yeah, I foot the fee. Yeah, I know she bad and bougie, but she good to me. We talking king shit, I love to show her royalty. I need a queen quick to always show her loyalty. And when even a nigga off, she be on with me. She DEF the fuck boy, she supported G. That's how it always be. Yeah, it's a baddie, it's a baddie. Make it clap, patty cake with that fatty. Yeah, she love it. Making money. Keep it coming, keep it cunning. Hate when complaining, haters do nothing. My type of women like to cuddle, but don't sleep on the money. My type of women like to talk, but don't talk to no dummy. A good play, peace and pay, that's a damn good day. A good play, peace and pay, that's a damn good day. A type of dudes don't be calling, trying to blow up her phone. The type of dudes getting money, but don't leave her alone. She just need food, peace, and pay. That's a damn good day. She just need food, peace, and pay. That's a damn good day. She said, don't be mad at it. That's just what I prefer. Don't be mad at it. That's just what I prefer. Don't be mad at it. That's just what we prefer. Don't be mad at it. That's just what we prefer. Don't be mad at it. That's just what I prefer. Don't be mad at it. That's just what I prefer. Don't be mad at it. That's just what we prefer. Don't be mad at it. That's just what we prefer.